Welcome back to another video. This whole series is all about helping SMEs better their internal processes. This time, we'll be talking about supplier management. As usual, don't forget to subscribe. Quick intro. I'm Alex, champion for small and medium-sized enterprises. Now let's get to the video. Supply management is all about managing the resources in your supply chain. It's the process of not only controlling and recording what comes in from your suppliers, but also what your supplier communications are and what your relationship with your supplier is like. A good relationship with your suppliers is vital for maintaining a good level of service from them, from placing the order to booking in the goods, which can be quickly sold on. Saving time as a small to medium enterprise is really important, and working on your supply chain management is a way to save a whole bunch of time. We're going to be dishing out some serious knowledge on supplier management in this episode. First though, let's have a look at some of the stats. For those operating in the retail sector, it's been found that inventory is only accurate 63% of the time. 79% of companies with a highly optimized supply chain can achieve revenue growth greater than the average within their industries. Not working on your supply chain strategy can cause some serious issues. Only 8% of businesses with supply chains of limited capability report above average growth, meaning a lot of businesses are seeing the effect on growth from their below average supply chain management. Along with that, just 22% of companies take an active approach to supply chain network design. As you can tell, most companies, big and small, underestimate the power and importance of supplier management. But why is supplier management so important, you ask? Well, supplier management is the key to an effective supply chain. And without an effective supply chain, your chances of something going wrong is much higher. That could lead to a massive financial impact and damaged reputations, depending on how your supply chain is, obviously. Even if your supply chain is pretty small, with a few steps, it can still cause you to lose money and annoy your customers if something goes wrong. Let's take a quick look at how a software solution can help you as a small to medium enterprise. We'll be using Khaos Control to help demonstrate in this bit of the video. Using a system such as Khaos Control to manage your supplier process has many benefits. One being the ability to manage supplier data in an instant, giving you a real-time overview of your supplier activities. This means no searching through loads of tabs in an Excel document or stacks of paper to find supplier information. It's right there at your fingertips. Monitor undelivered items that are due in, using the on-order screen within a system. This screen is great for those who deal with suppliers overseas, because items traditionally take a while to arrive. Keep an eye on returns to your suppliers. Reorder quantities, stay on top of the product prices and delivery charges. This information is right in front of you, which makes tightening up your supply chain much easier, because you can quickly see which parts of the chain need most improvement. The scalable nature of a solution means you can store a huge range of data, including supplier-specific information against products in your inventory. This data can be anything relevant to that product, like reorder quantities or supplier preferences. This means instant access to the information you require to make important supplier and product decisions. This also helps to develop your relationship with your suppliers and prevent mistakes. If you have the right information in front of you, you'll be organized and better informed to make important decisions. A software application will also massively simplify your supplier returns process. Without a system, you would need to figure out how to return stock, dig through paperwork to find the right purchase order and info, and then go through the process of calling up the supplier, letting them know that you have to return stock, arranging the return, and spending a lot of time getting it all the way back to them. With a system, however, it's much less painful. You can automatically generate a supplier return on the back of a customer return. Once the return is raised, the solution does a lot of the heavy lifting for you and raises the relevant purchase orders and credits so you don't have to. A system can also help from an account's point of view, because it'll produce a credit note when you go through the motion of a supplier return, which will help your accounting team with processing the transactions correctly. Another great thing about business management software is supplier performance tracking. Making sure you have a clear overview of how your suppliers have been performing, whether they're making SLAs or are on time with communications and delivery. Having a system present the information to you in a clear and easy to read format is so important for an SME. It means the standards you set for your customers will be met and will help you make decisions about your suppliers if they are underperforming. Some suppliers will perform very well for a few months, when you first start an agreement with them, obviously, but then will gradually start to slow down, stop meeting targets, and many start to be a little lazier. Having a system means spotting these suppliers early and preventing them from massively affecting your supply chain and your customers. System or not, there's some key takeaways we can offer to help better your supplier management process. Work on being strategic instead of being reactive. Strategic is planning beforehand. So, for example, you're considering a new supplier. Being strategic would be to consider the risks, benefits, and such before you enter into the supplier partnership. Being reactive, though, is entering into relationships and waiting till something goes wrong to react to it. When it comes to introducing new methods or external suppliers into your supply chain, try and be as strategic as possible to prevent further issues down the line. You should look at every supplier as a partner. They're not just a vendor. They're almost like a part of your business. And the trust and loyalty between you will go both ways. But if you can hold up your end of the deal by involving them as much as you feel appropriate, it'll work wonders for your supply chain. Include your suppliers in changes, updates, and promotions, and listen to any concerns and issues they may have to help develop your relationship further. When it comes to your supply chain, set some benchmark figures to measure its success. When you've uncovered the most successful and unsuccessful parts of your chain, you can prioritize the bits you need to fix first. That prevents time wasting on improving bits of the chain that are already operating well. When you first start a business, you're most likely to be controlling your supply chain yourself. But as you grow, look into recruiting someone to help with purchasing. Make sure you choose someone whose skills match up to those required, and someone with experience is always best. Choosing a new supplier can be a long process. I'd start off small, looking at local suppliers first. When you've found suppliers, you can help decide by evaluating the positives and negatives of them as a supplier. Consider their work ethic, how they handle high-stress situations, and their reviews. You're looking to develop long-term relationships with these suppliers, so choose quality over everything else and try to ensure their work ethic and problem-solving skills match with your own to make the whole supply chain process easier to manage. We'd advise taking a look at your supply chain and breaking it down into the key elements like cost of stock, shipping, and storing. Once you've separated the areas, evaluate which ones are costing you the most, and then try and minimize the costs. Depending on the most costly element of your supply chain, you could have a variety of options to minimize costs. One could be switching to drop shipping, which would eradicate storing stock and the associated costs with that. When you want to measure the success of your supply chain, it's best, like most things, to start simple and become more complex. Some easy-to-apply metrics can be things like the percentage of stock received correctly in a certain time frame, or supply chain cycle time, which measures how long it would take to complete a customer order if all inventory levels were at zero at the time the order was placed. The percentage of stock received should be pretty high. Most companies aim and achieve 99%. For supply chain cycle time, the shorter the time frame, the better, as this indicates your process is flexible, agile, and more responsive to environmental changes. Remember, if you're looking to make the most of your supply chain, have a look at introducing Khaos control into your business. Not only does it help you manage your supplier processes, but can also control your stock, CRM, accounts, promotions, and more, all for a small monthly fee. You can click on the video now to find out more. If not, I'll see you back here soon for another video.